Hey, welcome to the Really Charlie podcast. My name is Charlie Perry, and we are here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I usually add a fabulous guest. Sometimes I'm on air by myself. We kind of took a break a little while, but you know what? Good friends, they make some inquiries, and Jen reached out to me and said, "Hey, can I go on a podcast?" And I had this date available, and here we are. This is it's a busy season, so I wasn't really trying to get on too many podcasts because people are going out, they're doing their little shopping if they're celebrating the holidays, and then you know someone says, "Oh, I can't make it, I'm busy," whatever. So just to avoid all the cancellations, I just said, "All right, I'll take a break until after the holidays, and then we'll start right back up." And once I said that, I started getting inundated with all kinds of requests to come on, and I was like, "Oh, well, maybe I should do that all the time, because I think we're lined up throughout in the first Tuesday of March, so I'm doing pretty good. So,
That's
how you
awesome.
doing? How you
I'm
doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, I've been very busy.
Hmm.
And you're right, it's the holiday season, so I think we all get busy. Of course, I work in retail and so does my husband. So when you're busy working in retail during the holiday season, everything is thrown to the wind.
Exactly. It's a whoops. What happened? Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Um, yeah, and you just, I mean, it's nonstop, and I know that with us, we're a little behind already. Um, the tree isn't up already, so we gotta get that up and and celebrate the holidays. So first and foremost, I am very proud of you, what you did and what you accomplished during the election. Um, I just, man, I totally, truly expected you to be there before a lot of my friends, and things happen, and when I ran, I totally was so confident that I would win, and then I got a downer at the end of the night, but when I kind of think of it, I was like, man, that was a great experience. Can
Yeah,
you
it is.
Yeah, tell me about your experience, good, bad, ugly, whatever you want to mention, but the experience of being in a campaign. Talk to me about it.
So, this is the first time I had ever done campaigning, especially for myself. I had never run for office before. So oh, I'm sorry. When I was in the fourth grade, I think I ran for class president, but that's a whole different ball game. So it was a new experience running, and so I didn't start my campaign seriously until probably July. So I started a lot later than all of the other folks who had planned to run. I hadn't like it wasn't really on my radar to run, but at the time also before I um, before I made the decision to start running, I didn't know that Linda Morad was retiring. So
Mm,
some of my jump into the campaign was finding out that she was retiring, and I had several people that knew me from different things that I had worked on in the local political scene and the local social justice realm. And when she retired, I had several people come to me and be like, would you consider running? We need more women in politics. Like, you know, we saw that you were at this rally or you were doing this, and like, you're a small business owner, so you have that perspective. You're a woman, so you have that perspective, and you care a lot about New Bedford, and we would like to see you run. And so that's what first drew me to running. And I kind of feel like the fact that I really love the fact that people asked me to run.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I really was doing it, I feel like I was doing it for the right reasons. I was doing it because I do care, deeply for this community, and I think that a lot of us, in the community or a lot of people in the New Bedford community are feeling like their voices aren't always heard,
Mm,
and I think that there's also feeling, um, this feeling where people are not throwing their hats into the ring because they're not seeing a lot of change.
yeah,
And I let us know that, some of the city council members have been on city council for a long time. It is it experience is good, but
yeah,
also, when I was going out campaigning, there were people that were saying they wanted to see some new people, some new faces in there, some different ideas and whatnot. So, part of my idea around running was maybe I can inspire other people to run in future, in future years and elections. Maybe I can um, inspire people to be more involved or to try to get their voices heard or to jump into into the arena of trying to make our city the best city that it can possibly be. And
I
so just doing that, I feel like I was able to show people like, yes, you can do this. Your feelings and opinions and um, life experiences have meaning, and that
yes,
gives you a reason to run. Because I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm not a politician. I shouldn't run for school committee or city council. And I heard some people say that, and I'm thinking to myself, but we all have life experiences that, bring us to a certain point where we have knowledge around things that we could, give advice to city council. We could bring our life experience to the school committee and be a conduit for good.
I agree. I agree. It's so many so many boards throughout. That so many executive boards and boards that we are formed around us are just common folks. And city council is a board for the city. And I
Yes.
try to encourage everyone to you ever been on a board before? Yeah. All right, you gave your input. Members that are part of your association or organization, they may ask for something, and you stick up for them. You bring things forward, and that's the same with city council. And I'm glad that you did step up because there's a man or woman that are looking at you and say, hey, Jen is exactly who I am. You know what? Maybe I should give it a shot next time. Jen has that same personality, hardworking person. I like the way she explains things. Yeah, she reminds me of myself. Let me go ahead and run. And being an inspiration is so key. You talked about the you know there's some people that have been there a while, and good, bad, and ugly. But we have to understand, when we bring up issues over the city and someone that's been there so long or been there a while, all the complaints about the city are actually part of their problem too, or the cause of them. And I try to explain that to people that, you know, all right, you can't blame everything on Mayor Mitchell. You got to stop that. There's an abundance of things that include an abundance of people, and to just put the blame on him, no, it just you can't do that all the time. And I try to, you know, I ran against him. I wanted to change things, but I
Yeah.
also will defend them at some point when there's things that need to be explained, and it's not all his fault, and it's not always credit when something good happens. So, but No, you did a great job, and I truly, truly glad that you were there. And like I said this once before, and probably said it to you and Devin, that if you can run a successful business downtown New Bedford, you are very, very capable of sitting in the city council and giving a very strong perspective about everything that comes across that table or in that chamber. So, um, and without a doubt, it's like you would get my vote no matter what. And the only reason why I say that is because I've been down there, worked down there, shop down there. I just know how it is down there. And for y'all flag to be flying every day outside that store means a lot. Um, so
It is. It's and also the other thing, and I think I spoke about this during my campaign, is that we're living in very different as a nation right now. We're living in very different times.
yeah.
So I think this is the time where, people are standing up where maybe before they weren't standing up, or, you know, people are you're having to look and really look at things in a different perspective and say, where can I fit myself in to help my community right now? Because I mean, the economy is like a yo-yo every day,
Hmm.
totally up and down, up and down. We've got tariffs we're dealing with as far as like small business owners right now. um, when I was campaigning, I went and I walked down Acushnet Avenue and talked to a lot of small business owners down there, and they're and also the small businesses in downtown. We're all suffering from a
Mm,
bad economy right now. People are afraid to spend money, and this is the thing: is like I don't blame them in their fear to spend money, since we just sat through one of the longest government shutdowns in the history of government shutdowns. We just recently had one of the longest government shutdowns, which also included SNAP benefits getting cut. And I think for the
mm,
first time in a long time, a lot more people were feeling that, like, oh my goodness, we're all just one illness or one bad accident away from poverty. And we are in this country. And that's the fact that we don't have you know, we don't have the best health care in place. We don't have the best way to get food to the most people. And we don't have enough housing for people. And that is
mm,
just the truth. We're in the middle of a nationwide crisis, both a housing crisis and an economic crisis. And what part of what I talked about a lot in my campaign was the federal government is a mess right now, and that's why we have to work really hard as our small city, with the city council, with the mayor, with just general organizations that help people. We need to work hard to make sure that New Bedford is firmed up, that people that are housing insecure are getting into shelters if possible, if people that are food insecure are getting food, if people are, financially insecure, are we able to get them things to meet their needs? Because obviously right now the federal government is unstable, and the best thing to do when your federal government is unstable is to make sure that your city government, your most local government, is as stable as possible, and that there are people that are advocating and speaking about the most vulnerable among our population. And that's what
mm,
I strived to do. A lot of people, when asked questions about the housing crisis, they wanted to talk about, oh, mother-in-law units, or we can, like, let's do this or let's do that. And a lot of people were not comfortable talking about the unhoused residents of New Bedford.
mhm,
And I am not afraid to talk about that, because we need to talk about it. We need to talk about the fact that the systems that we have been using for a long time, both nationwide and on the local levels, are not the systems that actually work and change the issues with um, the homeless population or the unhoused residents of New Bedford. Even the way that we need to give people human dignity and respect. And when we're talking about people, we have to speak in a person first way, because words have meaning, and the way we speak to each other and the way that we speak about problems also has meaning, and we can learn from one another. One of the things that on the last forums that I attended, when when we do the forums, usually you get to introduce yourself, then you have a series of questions that all of the candidates answer, and then usually you get a minute to do a closing. Well, at this particular forum, there weren't not as many of the candidates attended this last forum, and there weren't as many questions. So at the end, we had a little bit more time than just 1 minute. And one of the things I was saying is that we need to stop making assumptions about each other, and we just need to come from a perspective of human decency. And what I mean by that is we should all want, there's very basic human needs, and those
Mhm.
needs are shelter, because we need to
Yes.
be sheltered from the elements, food, and medicine. And those
Yes.
are the things that people that are dealing with living an unhoused life are suffering from, not having those very basic human needs met. And as a city councilor, if I had been elected, and even, because right after election day, a few people called me and they were like, "Oh, you did so great, but are you hanging in there? What are your plans going forward?" And like they kind of wanted to know, are you going to run again? Like what are your thoughts right now? And I was like, well, right now, we're getting going into holiday season, and I own a retail establishment, so I've got to,
Mhm.
work on that. But I'm not going to stop. I was attending city council meetings. I was working on different causes already. And I'm not going to stop doing that just because I didn't get elected. I
Yeah.
do plan to run again.
Good.
I've got 2 years, but I hope that in that 2 years that I'll get to meet more people, and hopefully I'll be able to help with more causes, and um, be out there and doing the right thing, helping people, and basically, like I said, building up when our federal government is not taking care of its people. We need to take care of our own people. We have to remember that we have a local government, and we have, the city level and then the state level. And I think overall, I believe, watching how New Bedford has been stepping up when SNAP benefits were cut, how the community has been filling the food pantries, how we have been working together and trying to have dialogues with, say, the Interfaith Council about
Mhm.
the problems with the unhoused situation and the housing crisis, talking about rent stabilization, and the fact that rent stabilization is just one of the many tools that we can use to help slow down the housing crisis. And it's
Yes.
a tool that we need to talk about, and we really need to work on it. And we also need to understand, like when I was talking about words matter, there's two different things when you're talking about, because I think there's some confusion around rent control and rent stabilization. And I think oftentimes people think they're the same thing, and they're not the same thing. And they get worried, oh, she's talking about rent stabilization, that's the same as rent control. And it's not the same. And they're both tools. There are tools in the economy and systems in the economy that have to be used sometimes when you're dealing
Yeah.
with a crisis. And if you really look at rent stabilization, which it is more of like a percentage based thing. It's not saying that you can't go up on the rent. It's just saying that this is a reasonable percentage that's based on the general income of that area, and, just protecting people and keeping them in their homes. I
I get
did
it.
yeah, I did recently attend a conversation about homelessness, and I think that one of the things that people really need to know right now is the the population that are becoming newly homeless are many elderly folks that their rents have gone way up, and obviously they're on fixed incomes, and so they're not able to,
Mhm.
make that adjustment. And some of them are too proud to ask for help. And so some of these elderly people are literally living in the woods or living here and there, and if we were able to help them before they got to this point, it would have been a much better situation than now now they're in this situation where they're living in a tent in the woods, or they're having a medical episode and have to go to the hospital and go through that system. So yeah, I'm still continuing to do a lot. Actually, it's so funny. Uh, my husband the other day, he's like, so what are you doing this week? And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, so I think I have this and this and this. And he's like, wait a minute, I thought that after after the election you would be doing less. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Surprise.
surprise, it never ends. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I am still doing things. I'm still going to community meetings, and still trying to work to make the community better. I will say, I am very scared for all of our small businesses. After seeing how bad the sales have been this past November, it has literally been very, very the worst sales I've ever had in my
Mm.
shop this past November, and November is generally when we're gearing up to go into holiday season. But I want to say on the podcast, please, anybody that's listening, please, support your local businesses, your mom and pop businesses, because mom and pop businesses do so much more than just exist as businesses. We bring so much more to the community. We bring beautification, we bring safety, because when you have a lot of mom and pop businesses open all the time, you feel safe and comfortable to walk on the streets. And I do fear that we're going to see some businesses close after Christmas. I know when I was campaigning and talking to the folks in the North End, some of them were saying they were down something like 50% in sales. And this is shops, like I was in a little market, a little food market, so these
Mhm.
are shops that are even more. I mean, my shop is an art gallery, and we sell some retail lines and mostly handmade items from the local area and local artists. So I understand why people would, maybe when they're not thinking about spending so much money, when they're worried about, things like on the national level with their income and different things like that. So I totally understand that. But to hear from food markets down in the North End that they're not, that they're seeing such a steep decrease in their sales too. So I've definitely been trying to tell everybody, please shop local if you're able to. Even like in my shop, we have all different types of priced items. I have everything from handmade greeting cards, for like a happy holidays card that is handmade, all the way up to a large scale painting. So within there, there's something for most people's budgets. I try to keep to have a variety of prices. So I'm definitely trying to remind people to shop local, especially this year. We're in a like I've said before, the federal government is very rocky right now, so you're going to
Mm.
see people being afraid to spend money, and I get that. But if you use the money that you do have to put back into the local shops and restaurants, it would definitely be appreciated. And it helps, like I said, it helps with safety. It helps with the beautification. Like each of our storefronts on my street looks different. We decorate our windows for the holidays. We try to make
Hmm.
it look really nice so that people that are coming downtown for the different things, like December 13th will be our holiday stroll, and that's basically sort of like a festival day, and we have different events going on at each of the shops and the restaurants, and there's even like carolers outside and performers outside. Some of the businesses have sales or they have pop-up artists. um, so that's on December 13th. Definitely everybody come to that if you are able to. Usually runs from like noon to 5. The tree lighting this year that happens downtown usually coincides with the holiday stroll, but this year it's not coinciding.
Mm.
So the tree lighting is this Saturday.
Oh,
So,
I, I,
uh,
I, I just trying to prepare myself for. Let me just take that off because there's something there that's right around the corner from you, and it's on his page. So go
oh,
ahead.
okay.
So the tree lighting
Is
is
this
not going to be on the
weekend.
same.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So
That's
unfortunately, I like it when it overlaps because it usually is nice. People do the holiday stroll, and then at the end of the stroll, they have like a little parade that goes up William Street,
mhm.
and then they light the tree on the public library steps, which is
Yeah.
also another wonderful New Bedford tradition that's been going on forever, and it's so much fun for families to, stand out there, and they have Santa, and then some of the city council members come, and Miss New Bedford's there. It's just like a really nice way to spend a day with your family supporting the small businesses. Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah, that'll be great. The holiday strolls on December 13th, and the tree lighting is this weekend. And yeah, I just think that it's, today's Giving Tuesday, and one of the things I had uh, on my shop's Facebook page is that we sell these things called the Seagull Cinderella stickers. And
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember, the Seagull Cinderella was a statue that was
Yeah.
in the that has made appearances twice, and it made a big
Mhm.
splash the first time. And
Yes.
the story is wonderful. So what ended up happening is when so many people were upset by a bird with by an anthropomorphic bird that had
Yeah.
breasts.
Mhm.
So some artists decided to make hand-drawn stickers the first time that
Mhm.
the bird arrived at New Bedford. They made hand-drawn stickers, and they came to my shop and they said, "Would you be willing to sell these stickers? We're gonna raise money we want to give probably to like a breast cancer fund or something like that." And I said,
Mhm.
"Okay, so well, sure, we'll do that." And they were all hand drawn
Yeah.
at that time. And then artists would decorate them, and they sold for like $4 a sticker or whatever. And we just we didn't at that time we didn't take any of the money. We just donated all the money to the South Coast Cancer Caregivers and Patients Fund. And this is a
Mhm.
really great fund because it actually gives money to the caregivers and the patients for things that they might need. Like, you might need transportation, you might
Mhm.
need food. Like, when you're going through cancer treatment, there's a lot that you're dealing with, that you might have loss of income, you might need these different things. And so this is a fund that they're able to give sort of like a stipend to someone that is either giving care, taking care of their family member, or they themselves are going through cancer. And so now we've been a part of raising money for this fund for years now, all because someone was upset about a busty seagull. So I do love taking part in it. And most recently, when it came back by popular demand, they brought the sculpture back. When they did that, they asked us, they had stickers printed this time so that they are
Mhm.
vinyl and that you can put them on things and they won't get washed away. And they came, New Bedford Creative contacted us and they said, "Hey, would you be willing to sell the Seagull Cinderella stickers again?" And we said yes. And we said, and they said, "Well, we want the store to take like a percentage and to still give the percentage to the cancer caregiver and patient fund." And so that's what we do now. And people can
Good.
buy them on our website or they can come in the shop and buy them. People love it. Makes great stocking stuffer. Uh,
Mhm.
so yes, if it's Giving Tuesday today, so if anybody wants to buy some Seagull Cinderella stickers, they can go to TL6 The Gallery um, .com, and we have a Shopify site, and the stickers are up there, and they can buy them there, or they can come in. I'll be open tomorrow, so that's what we're doing for Giving Tuesday. Um, but yeah, there's so many great options. Another option, since I'm talking about Giving Tuesday, is Mercy Meals. I think that
Mhm.
they are a great program. I'm sure you've heard of them. They're
Yes, I have.
located, yeah, they're located in the Pilgrim Church building downtown, and they just do a wonderful thing. They make breakfast every morning. They do more than just, because now it's called Mercy Meals and More, because they do more than just provide breakfast. But I have volunteered there in the past. I definitely, if someone is still wanting to donate somewhere for Giving Tuesday, I would definitely recommend donating to them. I think that they do good work. They are passionate about treating the community, all people the same, which is something I really
Mhm.
love. They just put on a big Thanksgiving dinner that some of the city councilors helped and volunteered at. And they do a foot clinic too, to help people with their foot care. They partner with like Walt's Closet, which they provide clothing if people need clothing. So I think they're also a great local charity that people could donate to as well. So those are my two things about Giving Tuesday. I'm a chatty Cathy, Charlie. I feel like I'm not
No,
letting
I
you get
get
a
it.
word in edgewise.
No. Well, I want to say hello to my friend Michael Samayo on YouTube. He's watching us, and he's constantly on the podcast and supporting the podcast every chance he gets. So I truly appreciate it. Um, since we're downtown talking about downtown, I want to talk about the vault, and I'm gonna relay this message from Stephen Lopes, who is he's a promoter doing a lot of comedy shows in the area with WNB1 Radio, which is a downtown business at 7th and 6th Street, and so the 7th and Union, sorry, and so Steve is partnering up. He's trying to help out with the vault, and well, let's talk about the first show he has is January 10th, and he says, in case you forgot that WNB1 Radio brings the only best comedy talent available, straight off the Dave Chappelle World Tour, to our stage at the Vault Performing Arts Center and Pub in downtown New Bedford. Prepare yourself for the Marshall M.B. Brandon story at Saturday, January 10th at the Vault. So that's the first Friday comedy. They do it every month. It's usually the first Friday of the month. The radio station does it, and they teamed up with the Vault and Michelle. I believe it's Michelle Pereira. Really nice girl, nice woman. Um, And on Thursdays, January 15th, so it's every Thursday they do a comedy show, but on January 15th, the greater New Bedford area and beyond, get ready for the Christina Thomas Comedy Experience going down on Thursdays, January 15th at the Vault Performing Arts Center and Pub in downtown New Bedford, along with the headliner, Bill Simus, very funny dude. The show premieres to be one of the funniest lineups to ever hit the area. Amazing. It's only $15, and you can,
That's very reasonable.
yeah, yeah.
$15. That's very
It's
reasonable.
and it's right there. The vault is so comfortable, and truly, truly comfortable place. We just did a birthday show there with my friend Chops Turner, and so it was pretty amazing. So, but I just want to add that, and I'm trying to mention that every podcast that I have about the vault and what they're doing, because it's real important that we continue to support each other. Um, and the vault is downtown, so anything downtown is very sentimental and means a lot to me. So I just wanted to push that. So
Yeah, it's right
hey,
around the
who knows when
corner.
you close? Yeah, you when you close up, you lock the door, and you and the hubby can just go around the corner and say, "Hey, let's go laugh for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then we'll go home." All right? And
I do love
and
stand-up comedy, I have to say. I do love stand-up comedy, so I should go there and see because
well,
I think that it actually is such a good, the world is so heavy that listening to a stand-up comedian, plus a lot of stand-up comedians are absolutely brilliant people that give us a perspective on things that we would have not otherwise known.
mhm, yep. And things that you think you shouldn't laugh at, but they bring it out in a funny way, and you laugh at it and joke. My co-host on Sometimes You Have to Lose Yourself podcast, which is aired on Wednesday, Marvin Speller, and he says, you got to laugh 100 times a day, and I kind of think of it. Probably will make me laugh. I mean, that would make me a happier person throughout the day if I try to do that, right? And so, but he's an amazing dude, and um, if I was in this situation, I'd probably be a little depressed. But every day he tries to be a better person, and he tries to do something for someone else, even though he has a huge burden on his shoulder. But so Jenny, we have a few more minutes. I want to talk to you about um the parallel products.
Yes.
And if you know of any updates, why don't you share it with me and the audience?
Yes, definitely. So, you and I talked over the summer when I was campaigning, and I was also attending all of the Board of Health meetings for parallel products. Um, and we should say, I'm always reminded of this. So, Parallel Products changed their doing business name as South Coast Renewables to what
Mm,
they call Greenwash because it's very close to the name of the one of the many organizations that was fighting basically for anyone that's I'm assuming that a lot of people have heard about parallel products and South Coast Renewables, but like a quick synopsis, if anybody's new to hearing about it, is that they wanted to put a trash depot over here in the North End. And if you looked at what it was going to do to our community in the North End, I live in the North End. Um, that the pollution and the damage that could have been done, trash fires, which inevitably happen in any of these dump type things, um, you know, when those happen if we let them put this trash transfer station in. We would be subjecting ourselves to so much pollution, so much trucks coming in constantly, day in, day out. The exhaust from these trucks, tons of traffic, trash. So anyways, they the organization that was fighting this, they have been fighting it for something like 10 years. And the company Parallel Products, that has now changed their names to South Coast Renewables, to sound more like a recycling center than a
Mhm.
trash transfer station. And also, the other thing that blew my mind when I learned more about it, because I wanted to know enough. Um, I wanted to know enough about it when I was going to these hearings to really understand it. So I talked to a wonderful woman named Wendy Morrill, who has been on the ground fighting this thing with also all of these like amazing people that have been spending this long, 10-year plus time fighting having a trash transfer station in the North End, because it doesn't belong there. It wouldn't
Mm,
even, this is the thing that killed me when I was learning about it, is that it wasn't even servicing our trash needs.
mm,
So it was going to be taking trash from all over and bringing it here and then transferring it somewhere else. We don't need that in our city.
no.
Our trash needs are being taken care of. So I went to all of the Board of Health hearings. I believe there was like 5 of them. They were at Pulaski School, and I attended all of them. And I even spoke. We had a short one night for Citizens Impact. Of course, they had it at the end of the night, so we're all getting very exhausted. But we brought our A game. Lots of people, residents, environmentalists, residents, people that were going to be working there, we all got to speak. And so I'm very glad that I did that, that I went and I spoke. And then I was so excited because at the last uh, hearing where the Board of Health voted, it got voted down. And I was like, yes, this is it. We're
Mhm.
good, right? This is definitely a win. Everybody was very excited. Unfortunately, South Coast Renewables has now filed an appeal to try to appeal the Board of Health ruling. So here we are back at, not, we're not, I don't think of it as back at the beginning,
Mm,
because we did, and not even so much me, Wendy, and all of the citizens that worked against it, did so much work and proved and educated people about how bad this would be for a small city like ourselves. Um, the site is close to elderly housing. The site is close to where bus stops of school children get off,
yes.
and there's just no. It's not a good site for this type of thing. And if we don't need it for our for our trash purposes, it shouldn't be in our city. We don't need to. It's not good for us. The folks in New Bedford have very high percentage of respiratory illnesses, meaning that we have high percentage for asthma, emphysema, lung cancer, and having those pollutants would make it even harder for people with those respiratory illnesses to live their lives in their homes. Like if they were
Yeah.
outside on their deck, there would be a terrible, we all know trash smells,
Mhm.
so there would be a terrible odor.
Yeah.
People with asthma would be coughing and everything else. So yes, they have just recently um, filed an appeal, and I have said to everybody that I will just, that we're just going to keep our eye on what's going on. And we have to just, I know that everyone is probably very exhausted, but we have to keep fighting it because we're fighting it for our elderly people and we're fighting it for our kids. It's not the right business for that location. It's also
Yeah.
not needed for our trash needs, and we can find another a better use and purpose. Um, and we can take care of our children, our elderly, our residents of New Bedford who don't need more pollution. And I will continue to be in contact with Wendy, and when I hear more about what's going on, so far I just know that South Coast Renewables, aka Parallel Products, has put in an appeal with the Suffolk court right now. So we will have to see. That means that it's brought to like a full legal situation. They're trying to appeal what the Board of Health has said. I really hope. I'm like, please, can South Coast Renewables just give up? Like we've,
Yeah. Just go away.
go away because there's so many years that that people have been fighting it. I know I have not been on, like I've more recently come to the fight, but time and time again, they have proven that the neighborhood around it doesn't want it. We don't need it. It wouldn't be good for us. It's not even the amount of, usually when you have a business like that, like this, there's some agreement with the city. Well, they're not providing anything that would be
Yeah.
so there's the trade-off isn't equal. We would be
Yeah.
damaging all of our lives and our healths, and it's not worth it.
And I try to, and over the years, I've always told people, and I explained it over and over again, is that so many times they think that things that are things that are hazardous, they like to plant it in this city. And I
Yes, they
learned it
do.
so long ago, and I remember studying it in high school, um, and in 1 or 2 semesters in college, but in environmental racism,
That's
basically
yes.
because, yep, and they would just totally. This city is, I mean, when I was reading and we were discussing, and I had um, we had opal presentations and oral presentations, and we're just talking about it, and it was crazy. No matter who went up there, it sounded like they were talking about the city of New Bedford and every little scenario. And I said, "Wow, if that's like, Atlas Nail, or it's like, up the North End with Chamberlain," and they was all different stories, but to me, I could put their stories on a building, a facility, or a parcel of land somewhere within the city of New Bedford. And I'm saying, "Wow, that's crazy."
Yeah.
And so and that's what they're doing here in this situation. And you got to follow the money, and the money is not going to benefit New Bedford, to where we can just do something else and probably profit a whole lot more doing something else.
Yeah.
Paulo Paris mentioned geothermal, would be it would be good in that spot. I don't know what geothermal is, but I'm assuming that it's maybe burning trash or something like that. But anyways, I'll talk to Paulo more about that. And But there's just so much. I like to go in that area and jump on a train and see a skylight, see some clouds, see you know, some visuals, whether it's a house or I just want to see something. I don't want to see a building that smells. And guess what? The reason for that train is to market people to come to New Bedford. So the
Yeah,
first
and
thing,
are they gonna wanna live in the North End,
yeah,
if it smells like trash,
yeah,
and,
we're
it
already we for the life of the city of New Bedford, it's always been the fish smell, and now we got to deal with a garbage smell. It
yeah,
just compounds it.
it did that was brought up when people were members of the community were speaking. They brought up, the fish smell. Now you've got a garbage smell, and now and people say, oh well, it's just a smell. No, odor is affect.
Yeah,
It affects us
it
too.
travels.
It travels. It affects us negatively. The fish smell doesn't really like. Yeah, sometimes it smells like low tide. That doesn't bother me as much as the idea of trash in my
Trash,
neighborhood
yeah.
smelling like
Uh,
trash, yeah.
just think of it, Jenny, and we talked about this before, but the the water that comes from the trash trucks in the city and it drips all over the sidewalk in the street rather, and then that smell stays in the area for a while. So could you
Yeah,
imagine up that way? It's going to be the same thing or something very similar to it. And I don't care what anybody says. You get behind a, a truck hauling trash on the highway. You see it, you smell it, it goes by you, you smell it, and you're in your car with the windows up and you can smell it. So
yeah,
it's gonna be in the. I mean, they have their appeal, and maybe that's their right. But I hope that the Suffolk courthouse looks at it and says, "Hey, just exactly what you said. This community has been fighting for years, and they said no, and the health
yes.
department stood strong and voted 2-1, right? And guess
Yep,
what?
yep, it was 2 to 1.
Yeah, and that says a lot. So hopefully that I hate to say it, but hopefully the judge or a panel looks at it and says, no, I'm going to deny your appeal based on you not having anything else that you're going to resolve these complaints from the residents. How are you going to resolve this? Unless you're Jesus or Lord God, you can't solve that. It's just
No,
so
they
hope. Go
I
ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
hope that yeah, I hope that the appeal, like that somehow I'm hoping for somehow that the appeal won't go through. Maybe, like you said, maybe they'll decide that it's not worth going after because so many people came out against this. I know that when I've talked to Shane Burgo about different things. He says, Jen, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint when you're talking about
Hmm.
government, that it
True.
moves so slowly that's why you're fighting these things. And I think unless you're in the fight with these organizations, you don't realize how long they have been fighting something like this, and it's been sort of under the radar just by doing things, by changing their doing business name from Parallel Products to changing it to South Coast Renewables. That's a way for, like, it's kind of like a, oh, that's not the same company. So people that don't keep that in
Hmm.
mind, that it's been going on for so many years. But I really wish, I think that New Bedford has spoken out very loudly and very plainly that they do not want this. And I hope that this appeal doesn't go through somehow, but also, like, I am dedicated to, if Wendy calls me up and says, hey, Jenny, we got to protest this again, or we need people to write letters, or she hasn't said that yet, but like if she calls me and says, we need to do something, I will definitely join with the folks that fought that again, and I will speak out, or I will, and if I hear um, anything more about it, I will definitely contact you and we can talk
Yeah,
about
let
it.
me know.
I,
Um,
yeah.
could you tell me something? Is this appeal something that's heard on that day and decided on that day, or is there going to be some kind of you know evaluation on of whatever they're presenting? Maybe the judge has to look at things for a little while and then decide in 7 days to 30 days what's going to happen. I just think that I excuse me. these companies have so much time, and then when people that are fighting in organizations, they don't have. Sometimes they lose stamina and don't fight, and but if you can find out from was it Diane about the appeal process, is that something that's going to be decided right away? But I'm here for the long haul with you, and I'll help out in any kind of way. Paulo says appeals are deals. Um, and that is what I learned about the corporate politics. Yes, it's so true.
It
Um,
is, it is. It's all and it will take longer. Unfortunately, like Shane Burgo says to me all the time, Jenny, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's going to take more time than we want it to. Just like the Board of Health meetings that hearings that we had at Pulaski School, that they were days and days. And you're right, like Parallel Products doing business as South Coast Renewables, they seem to have all the time and the money to do all of this, where the rest of us, we're not being paid to go there and testify that we don't want it. We're not being paid to, go picket or, try to write letters. And that's another thing I definitely, you know, it's very hard for these groups to stay committed and to continue fighting the good fight. So I definitely will keep you updated. I do think the
sure.
appeal is going to take longer than we want it to. In sometimes I'm like with a political situation, I'm like, well, if it's still an appeal, then we still have a chance. Is that
Yeah.
to hope that it will not go through. But yes, your friend is right. They are used as, you know, the thought process with corporations is like if we keep appealing it and appealing it and appealing it, finally they'll give in because these poor people don't have all of the power and the money and the time that we have, which is
Hmm.
sad because, a lot of people that are fighting this are elderly and they
I
just
was getting
want to
ready
have
to
a nice
say that.
neighborhood. Yeah. And you're
Yeah, most.
totally right. It is racist and classist. That's
Yeah,
why they wanna
yeah.
put things like that in small cities like ours.
If you look at it, there's towns, cities in the state in this Commonwealth, such as Fall River, um, Lowell, Lawrence, um,
Yep. They
uh,
call them gateway cities now.
yeah, and so, and if you kind of look at it, you could fall in any one of those cities and say, man, that house looks similar to the house in my neighborhood, and there's reasons behind it because that's what they do. They just everything looks alike. It looks similar. The same old strife over and over again in these towns when it comes to stuff like this. So, um,
Many of them were
yeah,
mill cities and
hmm
build up on factories, and
yeah,
then, when the textile,
that's
plants closed, we're left with a lot of poverty.
yeah, that's what Paul was mentioning about Morse cutting tools and sunbeam bread, and we still have
Yeah.
gas bars, linguiça, but all those mills, and the fish plants, and so he mentions what you say, will of the money versus the will of the people, exactly.
Exactly.
But as he knows and we know, this town, this city is not going to stop fighting. Um,
That's what I
and
love about New Bedford. We don't stop
yeah,
fighting. That's
no,
I think that's the thing that maybe people don't understand is that I've met so many wonderful people here that they never give up. They never stop fighting. And that's what's so
that,
amazing. It makes me want to, you know, put my, put my hat in the ring.
yeah. Have you noticed that there's some people that were born and raised here, and then they went and they ventured off to different parts of the state, maybe in the region. But if something goes down in New Bedford, they come out of nowhere. Hey, I've been in Connecticut for a decade, but guess what? This is my hometown. I need to help you out. I want to help you out, and they come out with a
Yeah, they come
vengeance.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I see, says something, gateway cities because of the zero enrolled. Yeah, they do have gateway cities, proportionally have less percentage of enrolled voters, which is
true.
definitely something that when I was campaigning, I was actually trying to get people to register to vote. And I was able to
Yeah,
get a few people to register to vote. But yes, I
ex-
was that was another thing that I was trying to actively do with my campaign is get people to register to vote.
I remember you were like the what's it, Pied Piper, and saying, "Come down to my shop. I got
I got
registrations,"
registrations. Yep.
we well, Jenny, we can do this at any time, any point, every week. I don't care what it is, but when it comes to you, you have an open invitation for this podcast and to talk about anything, whether it's
Thank
you
you.
by yourself or with a group. Whatever you want to do, we can definitely set it up. And if Tuesday's a bad day, you let me know, and we'll try to work out another day. Um, and I'm just there with you. I'm there with you. It's our community. We got to keep on fighting, and I gotta pay attention a little bit more when it comes to a lot of things. And when I have conversations with people like you and others to inform me of what's going on, it's real important because sometimes I'm going to work and then I'm podcasting and I'm getting tired or I'm watching the game. I need to pay attention a little bit more about some civic things so I can actually bring them to the table on this podcast and the many others that I'm involved in. So, um,
I think that you are a very positive
thank you.
your podcast is a very positive voice, and I think that we need to have more. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of, or I should say, one of the main radio stations that we do have doesn't have a ton of positive news, shall I say.
Yeah, yeah,
So I do enjoy that your podcast really does it deeps in, it digs in deep to some things, but overall, I think that you have a positive spin. You're into informing people and to having an enjoyable dialogue with your guests. And I
thank you.
appreciate that. Thank you.
And I appreciate you. And like I said, I'm available anytime to make sure that we get the message out and you know, give the hubby a high five for me.
I will.
And
He's the best
here's a
supporter.
yeah, it's an electronic hug for you. And I truly, truly enjoy talking to you all the time. I will get down to your shop and give you some money. You got to buy something,
Okay. Yeah.
and so I'll be down there very soon, within the next week and a half, and go ahead and buy something, and also leave with one of those stickers.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Thank you.
Mm.
All right. Well, you have a
Yeah.
good
All right.
rest of your night.
All right. Thank you. And I appreciate you, and I'll see you in a week or so. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody. That's Jenny Arruda, my girl. She's awesome, great downtown business owner. TL6 Gallery, 100 William Street. Go down there, check it out. Go buy something. Buy a little gift. You got plenty of things down there to maybe stocking stuffer, but there's some great things down there, and you get to have a conversation with a great owner. So go ahead, check her out. I truly, truly appreciate it. And in 2 years, we got to get her in office. We got to get her um, into office, sit in one of those leather chairs in the city council chambers so we can have someone that we can count on. And I'm not saying we can't count on the people that are there, but I know I can count on Jenny Arruda to doing the right thing and doing what she does best, and that's supporting the city, caring for the city, and actually speaking up for the city. So, all right, everyone, take care. I will be back on here tomorrow on the Sometimes You Have to Lose Yourself podcast with my co host, Marvin Speller, and we have a guest. from New York Life Insurance Company, and he's going to be Mr. Simon. He'll be on to kind of steer people in a direction for being stable when it comes to financial decisions, and he'll be on it tomorrow. I'll also be downtown, well, actually along Route 18, behind the Gomes School at Honeydew Donuts, 113 Conway Street. Myself, Chops Turner, the almighty voice, and Walter Manise, the owner of Honeydew Donuts. He owns two of them in the city, and we'll be at Honeydew at 10 a.m. giving you a podcast. And we also have a guest on that podcast, which is Donald St. John, local actor from Lowell, Mass. He's gonna come in on this. He's not coming to the podcast. He's gonna actually we're gonna get him through the internet via and stream him in. He's gonna talk about his acting career, what he's doing, and he's an amazing guy. And I can't wait to have him on there. So, all right, take care. God bless, and I will see you guys tomorrow. All right. Thank you, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, everyone out there. I appreciate you. Got a good showing, and we appreciate you. Take care.